Hello YouTube and welcome back to the zone, where today guys we are going to be doing yet another quickie article, and this one is commenting on the PandaHalo saga. So let's get in. If you have no context as to who PandaHalo is before, as I've covered some subjects about PandaHalo in other videos before, but even depending whether or not you're getting introduced to Chris, I'm just like laying these out more or less kind of like based on either theme or saga, as it were. Sometimes I remember her, but I have moved on. Chris, sensitive as ever. Is that sarcasm? Yeah, again, for those who have no context as to who PandaHalo is, you're going to be in for quite a surprise. From Casey Core number 23. Casey, that would be horrible for you to ignore someone being raped like that, Chris. Chris, yeah, I know. It was hard for me to ignore. But apparently he moved on for it. PandaHalo didn't really get raped. That was a story by Clyde Cash. So let's continue. Sarah Cassandra Cash, nee Mackenzie, nicknamed PandaHalo, was Sarah Hart, was Chris's true and honest sweetheart in 2008 to 2009, who lived in southern Australia before her fiery death. And let's just get started, shall we? History. During the Blanca saga, PandaHalo continued to send occasional messages to Chris. After Chris realized his mistake in believing Blanca, he decided to declare his true and honest love for PandaHalo on September 24th, 2008, through a solitude drawing. Oh, perfect, isn't it? And actually, here's the image right here. Chris isn't totally stupid. It says, "My Casey Panda, I have honored my feelings and emotions truly only for you. But he's such a wonderful boyfriend. But am I failing to go far enough with him? Sure he is." This is how you can tell this was done 100% by Chris. He could have he couldn't even be bothered to quote anything Panda might have said in confidence. Chris isn't totally stupid. If he finds true love, he wants it in writing. Note the bloody finger using arterial. Oh, did he cut him? Okay, arterial blood. I hope he just used fake blood. He didn't just. Oh boy. Actually, that's quite interesting. I've never ever once had a paper cut. How about that? So, whatever. Panda toyed with Chris for a while, discovering how desperate he was for sex. Panda really pushed the limits of acceptable behavior, and their conversation shows just how gullible Chris can be when China is on the line. A good example is how she verbally abuses Chris while claiming that she's starting to fall in love with Robert Simmons V. Occasionally typing extremely obvious and specific insults to Chris, and easily passing it off as some kind of bizarre form of Tourette's syndrome. Or easily getting Chris to agree to bizarre sex acts, such as convincing him to have sex with a dog for her pleasure. For the record, he said he'd be willing to have sex with a collie like Lassie. Now, again, listen guys, for those saying PandaHalo is sort of in the wrong for trying to tease Chris like this, well, technically PandaHalo is, but then again, why did Chris not stop for one moment to think to himself, wait a minute, why the hell would I admit to somebody that I would actually have sex with a dog? Or for that matter, why the hell would somebody think that that sort of thing is kinky or sexy, but bestiality, which is another thing that is heavily, what's the word, frowned upon in this modern world. But just for it doesn't take a genius to say that if somebody has to ask you about that, then that's immediately when you cut off all communications. So, and because this has happened to Chris before, he should have been able to have realized. But then again, it shows just how shallow and what he really thinks of women in general, if this is what he's willing to say for this sort of thing. This is why the game was banned in Germany. That's just another Max video. She managed to obtain the first footage of Chris masturbating and audio of Chris talking about his sexual opinions. He also sent her Panda a PSP that originally intended for Megan. She purported to be conservative Catholic, challenging Chris's views on premarital sex. Oh boy. He countered his pastor had said it was permissible, apparently, considering the fact that Panda subscribed to a vastly different theology, completely invalid. Pro tip, this rape never actually happened. I said that like in the beginning, that this never actually happened. This was just Clyde trying to screw with Chris. In a disturbing act of revenge, Clyde Clash flew to Australia and raped Panda. That didn't happen. I'll just say that again. She fell pregnant, no she didn't, with Clyde's child. A fact which didn't appear to faze Chris in the slightest. Whether or not Chris caught on, or he just did not care for, Panda's well-being, it's a little bit of both, I reckon. Clyde immediately and generously offered to take Panda and their baby in his mansion, whereas Chris subtly pressured Panda into getting an abortion. Very, very highbrow, that. As Chris was in the middle of lecturing Clyde about forgiveness, he is in an unusually forgiving mood, and actively encouraged Panda to abandon her child to the man who raped her, so Panda could live with Chris in his parents' house, while Clyde offered to house not only Panda and their child, but Chris as well. His stipulation that Chris would have had to get a job nixed that idea. There was also the issue that Clyde's act of rape had gotten Panda addicted to sex, which, as a man who has learned everything he knows about sex from porn, Chris didn't question at all. Not even slightly. And she expressed some interest in regular threesomes with Chris and Clyde. In the end, Panda gave Chris an ultimatum. Talk to Nintendo to make Sonic 2 a reality so that Chris could support their future family together, and she would gladly abort Clyde's baby and live with him as his sex-addicted baby-spewing wife. Failure to do so meant she would live with Clyde in his mansion and raise their child together. Chris, of course, wouldn't put in the effort to get the only two things he ever truly cared about: his fortified Panda to Clyde shortly after. However, he heard about the Australian bushfires. Death. Panda seemingly ceased to exist when Chris failed to meet her ultimatum, and Chris convinced himself that PandaHalo was one of the 173 who died in the Black Saturday bushfires of February 2009, but whether this is true or not shall remain a mystery forever. Chris's less than stellar knowledge of foreign geography meant that the fact that the fires occurred about 1,000 kilometers from where Panda lived did little to inform his theory of her demise. Just slightly. In Sonic 2 number 9, the fictional version of PandaHalo met her demise. After her building is put ablaze, she hurls her Pokeballs out the window to save her Electric Hedgehog Pokemon, Chloe Rose Chew and Blaze Bob Sonic Chew. After approximately 15 seconds of mourning, Blaze Bob reassures Chloe that they need to move on, mirroring Chris's lack of grief after the real Panda's untimely death. Rebirth. It only took a year for him to get around to it, but Chris finally obtained some manner of revenge against Clyde Cash for the rape of PandaHalo. Bit of a prolonged delay there, wasn't it? Granted, it was complete fantasy, but then again, so are all of Chris's victories. In an April 2010 update to the Wikipedia, Chris published a page discussing the women he's known in his life, including Panda. There, he revealed that he no longer believes she was dead. Instead, I recently learned that she was still alive, married to Clyde, and with healthy child. Even though my memorial dedications were apparently a loss, I wish Sarah and Clyde many happy years in their marriage. Again, kind of similar to the thing with Adam Stackhouse, he eventually got over being so bitter and spiteful towards these people. In released emails, Chris wrote that Clyde had told him that Panda had died, and that this had been a lie meant to get Chris away from her. In return, Chris sought to give Panda the PSN accounts he made for her and held onto over a year in exchange for proof of this. Whether or not this proof actually got through is, I'll leave up to you. It's Panda, Penny and Clyde, and totally not a random picture from Google image search. Okay. So that was sort of like a part of Clyde Cash, but then again, just sometimes I remember her but I have moved on. Nowadays, and I know like Chris's sort of like approach was again very insensitive, and that some things I suggest PandaHalo shouldn't have done, but this just sort of like, if you have any, Chris will always want what he can never get, and he will do the most insane batshit crazy stuff you could possibly imagine. And we are not even up to the Jackie stuff yet. We're not even up to the Julie or Ivy stuff yet. This is about as bad as it's going to get, ladies and gentlemen, and we still got a very, very long way to go. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the PandaHalo saga, courtesy of the Wikipedia. Please make sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the video yourself. And I hope to see you guys again in the next video. Take care.